71 or 326-0272. Follow us live on Facebook and Global Radio 99.5FM.com. Express yourself live on Global Radio 99.5 FM.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. This is a great day to be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else except in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Yes, we have our share of problems. Yes, we have our issues, but we can solve every single one of them. Do you understand that, Bahamians? We have hope for a better country, a better community, a better nation. And you have a role to play in making sure that that happens, because everywhere you look around the world, everything just falling apart. See why so many people say they want to come to the Bahamas? A place where we are safe. Yes, we have our share of issues and problems, but we can solve them. And too many times, I believe some of you get all carried away with what others are saying about us instead of looking at our own record, which we have established from 1729 right on up to now, and the administration of government, changing one administration to the next without firing one shot. How many nations know how to do that? Only the Bahamas knows how to do that. But yet you have those who are trying to get you to believe the only way you can change things is to get in a row, get in a fight. Like the two persons down, I think it was in Grand Bahama, if I'm not mistaken, where there was this incident that occurred, people known to each other, and one stabbed the other one to death. And the point is, when you start doing things like that, you may be sorry afterwards, but the life has already been lost. You can't bring the life back. You can't give it. And we are losing too many men. I've said that numerous times on this show. I don't know what's wrong with us. What's wrong with us? How we get like this? Every time you turn around, either someone is in an industrial accident, or someone was shot to death, someone was knocked off the motorcycle, fall in the road, get all busted up, crane falling on someone. I don't think we understand exactly what the condition may be with that particular personality. But we have what are called industrial accidents. I believe we have too many accidents, too many. Traffic deaths, serious traffic accidents, people laid up for months, even years. And someone has to take care of them, and it's happening to too many families where the income is so small, Bahamians. The families have to struggle to try to keep that person alive, to take care of them, to take care of medical bills. When people get sick, they have medical bills. In my case, when I was not feeling too well over the last 2 weekends, that's the last one or the one before that, there were some things that my mother taught me how to do. And of course, like I said, the women of the family helped me out tremendously. I want to thank the women of the family. The women take care of the women, take care of the boys, take care of the girls, take care of the men. Where the men? Now you men got to pull your socks up, man. Because too many of you are disappearing. I always tell these teenagers, 18, 19, 20 and above, I say, you've got to get as young as I am. But that takes time. You don't rush yourself. Take your time. And you got to get close to God, okay? God says only your father and your mother, that your days may be long. That's the only guarantee you have, that you will live in this lifetime. Don't mind what mommy and daddy do. Don't get into their affairs. That's how I was taught. You don't get in big people business. You honor them, you respect them, you listen to them, you obey them, and that is the way it ought to be. So you will be here until the man come back. I always tell them when you get as young as I am, you say the next decision you make, I won't be here till the man come back. But it saddens me every time we lose one of our male members of the nation. I'm not too happy about that. Let's see if we could work on that behavior. You fellows who are driving up and down with these motorcycles, prancing up and down the streets, contrary to law. You can very well hurt someone else or some other persons with your irresponsible behavior. The Constitution speaks about a national commitment to self-discipline. They need some self-discipline to be applied to each individual, to the family, to the community, to the constituency, to the island, to the nation, and so on. And of course, when you keep having people getting sick and they got to be laid up for a long period of time, that causes all kind of other problems. Medical bills have to be paid for. And then a lot of people find themselves behind with medical bills. They can't get the medication. You go to Princess Margaret Hospital, it may not be available. You go to pharmacy, it may be available there, but it costs you something, Bahamians. The cost of living in the Bahamas is extremely high. So we've got to take precautionary measures. Now, I tell people all the time, I have to exercise caution what I eat, what I drink. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody. But there are some places I just do not go. There are some things I just do not eat. There are certain persons I just do not take any food or any drink from. So you don't put anything in your mouth and everything in your body, what people might offer you mightn't be too good for you. And then with all these cameras and recording devices and so on, you're sitting next to someone, they're recording you or taking a picture to see you in a compromising position. You can never see that with Professor Sidney McGarta Walter Thompson. You can forget about that. Because I know where I want to go at any point in time. And then, of course, when night comes, you can find me at my own private place, which is exclusive. And it's best to do it that way. You can't just be going any and everywhere. Now, in the event of an emergency, that's a different situation. You never know when an emergency is going to happen, It could happen in the middle of the night, it could happen in the middle of the day, it could happen early in the morning. And then, of course, you need your phone to be able to make an emergency call. And when the electricity goes off, you ain't got no phone. See how that thing go? But they try to make me believe that's progress. I say, no, that ain't no progress. You need telephone service, you need electricity services. And so sometimes utility companies keep falling down all the time, particularly BTC, when it comes to telephone services. Lines get all tied up. You're trying to dial a local number, you can't even get out. Right on the island of New Providence. And then the person on the other end, you can hear them, but they can't hear you. What kind of crap is that? And from the time they started this quote-unquote improvement of service, it has been worse from what it used to be with Patelco. I'm yet to experience uninterrupted service from BTC. And someone was calling on the line, I think on another show yesterday, they were talking about the fact, and the person from BTC did not even know that they cut the line off every hour. And someone said, even before the hour is up, bing, gone. Then you got to redial all over again. There was a time on the Patelco you could dial until Christ come back and stay on the line and make your conversation. Then when you finish, you hang up. That don't happen today. But the particular personality who works at BTC or is one of the managers, whatever, did not even know that. You understand what I'm saying to you? But here was this particular personality on the air discussing about the services of BTC as compared to some other entities where people say they get better service or improved service. But we would like to see BTC improve their services because the services are very lousy. People need the telephone service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I used to get that, but I don't get that nowadays. Sometimes you go to dial the number ain't saying nothing, just dead. Then all of a sudden, sometime later, it come back on. You say, where does dial tone come from? Then it disappear again. Then you got to try it again. Bing, come back again. So the drops, too many drops in the service. But you don't know when they may happen. But they're saying they are improving the service. I don't see that yet. Some of you may have some views on that. I don't know. That would be fine with me. But I heard on another show they were talking about the representation of parliamentarians. I don't think that has ever been understood clearly. What is the purpose of a member of parliament? What is the purpose of a cabinet? What is the purpose of a government? And people had all kinds of answers for that, except the right answer, which is constitutionally sound. And here we are, electing people, or about to elect people, who want to sit in the House of Assembly. They say the salary is $28,000 a year. I don't know the full perks, what they get, but and some say you have to be either chairman of one board or something like that. And let me say this to you right now. I got to check to see how many quote unquote ambassadors at large. That's another one I heard the other day. How many of them we have? We got more ambassadors at large. Feasting off the public purse. Do you understand that, Bahamians? What is that one for? Now they're creating another new authority. Come on, Bahamians. This Prime Minister doing all this thing, It only can happen with his approval. I told you the office of Prime Minister is like a gigantic octopus that spreads its tentacles into every single facet of Bahamian life. Every time you look around, they're creating a new authority. And then they have the board, the chairman, and all them other things, and the secretary, and all them getting public money. So you're going to see the government just keep bloating up, bloating up, bloating up. How many committees, how many boards, how many authorities? Come on, Bahamians. For a country that's under, what? Under 250,000, under 300,000. We got a paraphernalia of boards and committees. Maybe you need to check these things out, Because it never seems to stop. We should have a set number of ambassadors. We should have a set number of ministers. Now you have a minimum number, but no number of the topics just go on until I guess the man decided, well, I ain't gonna appoint no more ministers. He could create more ministers. Not a maximum number now. It's wide open, but a minimum. So there's some things that need to change. We just can't keep having all kind of appointments and committees and boards. How much more of that can we take? While the fella at the bottom struggling to find food to put on the table, a woman in Baintown with those 6 boys, the man in Foxville with his 6 daughters, still can't find no husband for them, you know. You young men out there, you keep slaughtering yourself. Why the girls can't get married? This man got 6 decent daughters. He said, Professor, I can't find no son-in-laws for my daughters. You expect a man to just pick up any and everybody. You don't work, life don't work like that. It causes problems. I have seen where some people come into relationships with decent family members. And what they end up doing is contaminating that particular family with their bad behavior. They bring their rotten, bad behavior. There's now your son-in-law, your daughter-in-law. Be careful of these, quote-unquote, sons-in-law, daughters-in-law. Lord had the same problem. Then God gave him the message, tell them fellas to come out. They ignored him to their own detriment, and they died in a fiery furnace because they didn't listen to Lot, their father-in-law. His sons-in-law, who had married his daughters, only 2 daughters he had in the house there, but they got out. And then his wife turned into a pillar of salt. The point is, Bahamians, you have to be very careful. And fathers, be very careful who your daughters marry, okay? Just don't pick up anything. You must exercise caution and restraint. And I know the young ladies want to be married. They don't want to just have a bunch of children with any old Tom, Dick, Mary, Harry, and Jane. See, fornication is a serious problem in this country. It's like people drinking water. We have watered down our moral behavior so badly, the church doesn't even speak out against it. So you have these females, these big bellies all over the place. But they ain't got no husbands. How we get like that? So it becomes, I don't know if I could call it custom. But it becomes behavioral detriment of themselves and the children or potential children that they should have when they come on the scene. And the family. That's another mouth or 2 you got to feed. You got to carry that for more than 18 years. This is the result of fornication and adultery. And then you got some who in society circles, they don't want to be seen with the particular personality who they had a relationship with, nor with the children. What kind of nonsense is that? And these are some who are high up in society. This is how they live. And it isn't making anything better, you know, it's just making things worse. And I think tomorrow we will have the notes on the study what was done by, I think, the University of the Bahamas, say about sweethearting. I think they need to change that way. There's nothing sweet about adultery. There's nothing sweet about fornication, Bahamians. It only causes problems. You know how many people in their grave for messing around sexually in this lifetime? The grave keeps taking them down. Then people are so possessive. Oh, these females and males, that's my person. That's my this, my that. You become a possession of a particular personality. And if they can't have you, there's only one thing they do. They get rid of you. So men and women, you have to be very careful of your relationships with other people. Now, I keep relations with a whole lot of people, but I always draw the line. I can be friendly with you, I can be nice to you, I can be kind to you, but there are certain boundaries God has set in place. Say, Professor, don't go over that boundary. You stay within the bounds of my law and you'll be straight. But some of us like to play with fire and think we will escape it, and we won't get burned. It will hit you. You've been playing around with it yesterday. You didn't get burned yesterday. So the Lord give you a day. Say, okay, get your act together. Every day you have Bahamians is a day for you to change and do better. Because the Lord didn't kill you yesterday. You think now you got away. You ain't got away with nothing. Do you know every single thing you do, good or bad, is on your record? And God keeps an accurate and precise record on every word that you speak, every word that comes out of your mouth, even your thoughts. Well, look at them thoughts that fella thinking, eh? In fact, in the days of Noah, the word of God says, every imagination, every single imagination of the thoughts of the hearts of men was what? Evil continually. Every day they were thinking evil. That's the way we are today. That's how God says it would be prior to his second coming. And people are thinking evil all the time. Look how we rush to hear about the Epstein files and what happened to this particular candidate who is caught up in some scandal relating to drug trafficking or human trafficking. And we delight in this crap. And that becomes the topic of the town. And when you hear people towns wagging and they say this and they say that, when you hear that story again, it's all twisted up. I just try to stay away from those kinds of things. I'm not saying you should not be observant as to what is happening in your country. Yes, you have to check out these persons who want to be represented in the House of Assembly. Yes, I have no problem with that. But too many times we relish in gossip and rumor and hearsay and even some of the misfortunes of other persons which may occur to them. Bahamians don't do that. That's not the way to be. If they're wrong, then let them repent of that and turn away from it. That would be the best thing to do. But don't relish in that because something worse may happen to you. So don't get too happy about the downfall of a particular person. Because some of you just think like that, you know. You're thinking evil every day. That's what the book tells me. And God don't make no mistakes. When he say that's the way it is, that's what's happening today. You don't have to be a part of it, though. You could come out from that and start living a different lifestyle. And God will make sure to take good care of you. He'll look out for you. Make sure I set his angels around you to keep you and preserve you. That doesn't mean you're going to have any trials and tribulations. You have plenty of that. But he will pull you out of every single trial, every single tribulation that comes your way. All right, trust him to do that. The lines are open 326-0272, 813-0271. We want to look at what a representative ought to be like. What do you look for in a representative? What does your Constitution say about it, Dane? You need to think about these things. What qualities should a true representative have? God has a lot to say about these things, you know, but a lot of you don't listen to God. That's the problem. When God tells you about wickedness and righteousness, you want to disagree with God. And you say, that fella got on one pretty shirt. That woman got on one pretty dress. You ain't sure that's a woman either. That's another thing again. We're going to talk about that today. The lines are open 326-0272, 833-0271. How you gonna know the difference? See people down the way. Is that a man? Is that a woman? They got you all mixed up. Famous we can't be like that. That's confusion. All kind of confusion. And some terrible things can happen because people don't always think straight. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after this.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
This is Lenny Green from The Quiet Storm, inviting you to join me tonight starting at 7 p.m. as I serve you that ear candy that you love, baby. I'm dropping all your favorite slow jams like this.
Sunlight's gone, but the moon's so bright. Oh, I'm about to cruise down my Holland Drive.
To even this.
You show love.
So lock in with me. It's The Quiet Storm, baby. The Bahamas #1 for R&B. It's Global 99.5 FM.
Do you have video games and consoles for sale? What about lawn and garden tools, silver or gold? At Cash Whiz, they'll give you top dollar for them right now. Absolutely nobody puts money in your pockets quicker. So why be broke? If you need money right now, check out Cash Whiz downtown Bay Street and get cash on the spot. You can also save 70% on in-store purchases, tools, electronics, watches, and jewelry, all at unbelievable prices. Cash Whiz, telephone 322-2456. Get money in your pockets now.
Stay current, stay compliant with NIB. For a limited time only, registered employers and self-employed persons can receive up to 75% off accumulated interest on their contribution arrears through NIB's Interest Arrears Waiver Program, available now until March 31st, 2026. If your business is behind, visit your nearest NIB office or contact your inspector today. NIB, supporting businesses, securing the fund. Act now, comply today, grow tomorrow.
Insurance is too expensive. I'm young and I don't need it. All insurances are the same. Let's bust these 3 common insurance myths. First, no. Insurance doesn't have to break the bank. We offer plans that fit your budget. Second, accidents don't care how old you are. An accident can happen to anyone. Third, all policies are not equal. The wrong one can leave you high and dry when you need help the most. At Harvest Insurance, we give you real info, real options, and real peace of mind. Call us at 326-80845 or visit us at harvestinsurancebrokers.com and get the facts before you make a decision.
Whether it's a special anniversary or your next big getaway, we are the best choice. We carry the quality you deserve when you're looking for handbags, shoes, belts, small leather goods, backpacks, or luggage. Experience quality you can feel with Land, Rioni, Kipling, Guest, Travel Light, and more. Visit us at any of our 3 locations: Brass and Leather at the Mall at Marathon and downtown on Charlotte Street, and the Luggage Store on East Avenue in Centerville. Shop with us today. You will not regret it.
The Perfume Bar has been sipping on designer fragrances, skincare, and cosmetics for over 40 years. We house a wide selection of designer brands such as Chanel, Dior, Gucci, Versace, and so much more. For your shopping convenience, visit any of our locations: Bay Street, Palmdale, Marathon Mall, and our newest location out west in the Old Fort Town Center. Come on in and spray a little happiness only at the Perfume Bar.
Wise Bahamian shoppers know when times are hard and things are tough, it's more sensible and convenient to shop at Y-Care's Fashion Center. Y-Care's has slashed prices on brand name clothing and shoes by up to 50%, including academics, Clarks, Polo, and hundreds of jeans and techie pants, and as much as 70% on selected items. Choose from a large selection of beds, sheets, rugs, and towels, all at affordable prices. Y-Care's on 3 locations to serve you: Bahama Avenue, Prince Charles, and East Street South near the Sir Charles Hotel. Y-Care's, where you can afford to look good.
From South Beach to Bay Street.
I'm pleased, I really dig your company.
It's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Bahamians, we have to exercise caution and restraint. We don't have enough of that. We were always taught in our lives through my mother and father and persons even before them how to look after the children, how to put them on the inside and you walk on the outside. Some people got the children on the outside, they walk on the inside. The child could easily be startled by a car or even a dog or some animal or something. And there goes another child there. Then children drown in buckets of water. Give me a break, man. Of course, we're going to hear a tape from Pierre Gloverol, the minister. I'll comment on that when we play it. But Bahamians, it is most important that when you see the behavioral patterns of our people, if parents, okay, Mr. Bruce, we're going to come right there. Let me make this point. If I could find parents like my mother and father who had the kind of discipline, they had 12 children to take care of, okay? 9 of their own and 3 grandboys. And I could never tell my mother that something to happen to her baby boy. I couldn't find, I got to go live somewhere else. That's how serious it was. I'd have to throw myself on top of him to protect him. We're not playing any games, but now today you hear all kinds of things happen, industrial accident, this accident in the street, all kinds of terrible things happening. Why? Why are we so careless with our behavior? Mr. Producer, play the tape, please.
A major concern for the Department of Labor. We have inspectors that go on job sites. We are actually, through the OAS, gotten drone technology to learn to how we can assist in remote locations and over our work sites. So very concerned. We know that a lot of training and retraining has to happen, ensuring that in our haste to employ workers, that they have the proper training to be able to operate heavy equipment. And then, an accident is that. It's an accident, something that was not expected, but of course tragically happened. We continue as the Department of Labor Inspectorate to visit the job sites, ensure that the proper occupational safety and health measures are in place, and where they aren't, offer assistance with training and reskilling in that area.
I don't have any problem with the training, with the drones and all of that. But we always have the element of human error, which has always existed with us because we do not exercise safety precautionary measures. Every time we had no drones, and I'm not saying you shouldn't use the drones, but people in their haste to hire people, they exercise no restraint. Just want to get people on the job. Let's got to get this job done, to the detriment of other people. When I look at the behavioral patterns of persons in this country, these things were not so in past years. So what has happened? What has happened to self-discipline? Now, she said accidents will occur. A lot of these, what are called industrial accidents, could be prevented. A lot of these, what are called accidents on the streets, could be prevented. And people just wild on the streets. It was not so in the times in past. But what happens to our people now? Rushing all over the place. The island is only 21/7. And we are cluttered with vehicles. That's another thing we got to look at. The authorities need to look at that. The massive load of vehicles on the streets. You got to take some of them off the street, these heavy-duty vehicles, man. Let them travel from 11 in the night to 5 in the morning. Give them the 6 hours to total all the stuff they want to get, where they want to get them. Bing, 5 o'clock, you're off the road. That would take a lot of stress off the pedestrians. I was right down Rosetta Avenue, and the fella ride right up on the sidewalk, this big trailer. I had to quickly move out of his way. So we have to adjust certain things because of the large volume of vehicles on the street all at the same time. People are very careless with their behavior. That is a contributing factor to accidents. Let me put it this way. What are termed to be accidents? Because a lot of these things could be avoided through self-discipline. You have what are called accidents at home. Children drowning in a bucket of water. Give me a break, man. Think I could tell my mom that a baby boy got drowned in a bucket of water? I want no place to go. And I see the carelessness of, and let me just say this about the men. Men, you got to get involved in the rearing of your children, man. Because I see the women burdened down with sometimes 2, 3 children, and they're walking with them. I don't see no man there at all. None. So what happened? We're the fathers of these children. That is a major societal problem. And we just keep ignoring it. The women got to take care of themselves. They got to take care of the boys. They got to take care of the girls. And then when the males get sick, got to take care of them too. Give me a break. The women get stressed out. And then they got to take care of themselves while the man goes slunking. That's why the man told me he can't find no sons-in-law for his daughters. We have to do better. And while I have no problem with the drones, they say the drones overhead and all the sophisticated technology we have, and yet still every time you listen to the news, there is a quote-unquote industrial accident. Someone is either seriously injured and in most cases killed because there are no strong safety measures in place while these events are going on. So one has to be very careful. And then when you look at some of these vehicles on the road, just one tilting, they fall in one crater, then the whole thing turns over. You wait until that happens before you realize you have a problem. Even the roads are bad. The roads are not being properly maintained. And these heavy-duty vehicles do a lot of damage to the roads and to the sidewalks. Tremendous damage. That's another problem we have to deal with. And they are a menace to pedestrians. You know, sometimes I got to do some walking myself. And you got to look out for them as well as look out for you. They're not looking out for you. This is where they drive in and they're reversing out onto the main road now. They're not paying attention to pedestrians who are using the sidewalk. They run straight into you. They're just reversing out. Not paying attention to what's behind them. They got the rear view mirror, but they ain't paying attention to that. And then people turn around and say it's an accident. When you get mashed up in the street, others are going to look at it in a different light. So you try to avoid that kind of situation. Bahamians, we cannot be careless. Don't wait for that fella in the car or that bus to look out for you, because it ain't happening. All they can say, accident, as another accident. You become another statistic or seriously injured. And then you laid up perhaps for weeks, for months, maybe even years in some instances. And you're sick. And some people are without vehicles because the vehicle was damaged heavily. You try to get justice through the courts and you're still waiting months later. I know in one particular family, over a year later, the matter still hasn't been settled. So it puts a law-abiding citizen at a terrible disadvantage. What's the point of paying taxes? Where's your protection? Where is it? It would appear as if people are doing their own thing. And you appeal to the authorities. They tell you, don't take matters into your own hand, just like they tell the fellas on the high seas, where there was a reported incident that may have occurred where it was reported that what purported to be Bahamian fishermen beating up some poachers for poaching in our waters. And yet the authorities still saying they can't identify who's in the photo. You mean to tell me all this sophisticated technology around here? It seems as if all this investigation, all of this understanding about law, all these statistical information they have, yet still they're not able to come up quickly with a reasonable understanding of what's going on. So these things just keep building up, building up, building. And remember now, Bahamians, you got some other serious incidents happening. I notice now we have a number of armed robberies. Bull in the day. They don't wait for no night. Right in the day, when people in the store trying to do their business, they come in and rob the store. Where's the protection for the employees in the store? They tell us not to get into any confrontation with a person, dress up, or come to rob the store. I can understand that to a certain extent. In fact, there's a commercial out there by the police say you could always replace the goods. Yes, as if you have the money to replace it. But your life is far more important. I can agree with that. So they steal, they rob you, you lose some physical goods or some money, as the case may be. They go into the restaurant, rob the people, take their personal money, take the business money also, and cart off with it. We seem not to have any strong deterrent against this wicked behavior. And some of the sentences you read in the press, in one case I'm thinking about now, this fellow was dressed up like a woman. Cases, sentences to run concurrently. Come on, Bahamians, what are we saying? He should be lost in jail. Well, purporting to be a female. Now, see, that's another problem again. Because you got some people who got this alternate lifestyle. Males dressing up as females, and females dressing up as males. So you're not even sure, is that a man or is that a woman? See, God don't have that kind of confusion. He said, the woman is not to wear clothes pertaining to the man, neither should the man wear clothing pertaining to the woman. There's always and must be a distinction between boy, girl, man, woman. So you get all mixed up with that kind of funny thing going on. I mean, was accepted as being normal. There are some who believe this is the way you're supposed to behave. You go to the bank, dress up as a woman, you're a male, you rob the bank, and everybody think they're looking for a female. So they get scot-free. Even though they take the pictures, they disguise themselves and everything, but it's a fake. It's a fraud. So when you're supposed to be looking for a woman, but it's a man dressed up as a woman, pretending to be a woman, And so, Bahamians, you see, this is the way society is going. We never used to have these problems in the past, you know. These suckers used to remain in the friggin' closet. Now they're out in the open and think they're supposed to have some rights, interfering in the lives of law-abiding, decent Bahamian citizens. Bahamians, we have to do something about that, because God is not pleased with that kind of behavior. There's only one punishment he got for them, because that can't be tolerated. And so society has become comfortable with fornication. Society has become comfortable with adultery. So the devil come and say, okay, I can bring something else. And so these people are coming out of the closet with this wicked lifestyle, which is an abomination to God. We supposed to accept that crap too. They can come up with something else. That's how the enemy works. Come at you one piece at a time, and you digest that. You keep eating all this crap. And you look around, well, who that one is? Heck, you don't know who you're talking to. Oh, that was a woman. You ain't sure that was no woman. Oh, that was a man. You ain't sure that was a man. So how do you know, Bahamians? Where's your protection against this kind of crap? And when you gave a description to police, you were saying it's a woman because a particular personality is dressed up like a woman, pretending to be a woman, but in all reality it's a female. It's a male. Come on, Bahamians. The lines are open, 326-0272, 813-0271. That's why I am saying to you, you've got to check out these particular personalities who want to be your representative, Bahamians. You sure that's a real woman? Are you sure that's a real man? Or a fraudster or a faker? Because you're going to see some of them trying to get into your legislation if they're not there already. They're in the schools. What is the policy of the Ministry of Education as relates to homosexuals and lesbians, teaching our children in the school? Is there a hardcore policy or regulation, as the case may be? Or do we say we just open the floodgates, allow any and everybody to mess around with our girls and our boys? And what about you as parents, man? The problem I notice in this country, parents are not as aggressive in protecting their own children. You all get like this. When my mother and father were alive, they were both professional people. They worked hard. But they sure made sure to take them 12 pigeons they had in that house. They didn't take any crap. They didn't take any foolishness. Now, today, we see such a slack hand with persons from my generation going forward. Things are just cracking up, Bahamians. I see all kinds of cracks in the wall. We have to fix those cracks because the generations coming after us, they're falling through those cracks. And many of them don't know any better because mommy and daddy never taught them any better. Well, the mother and father don't know any better. How you expect them to teach the children? So that makes it even worse. We are in a sick, decaying society because we are allowing outside influences to get into a society that was rigidly biblically sound. We were taught the Word of God from the very beginning. Before I was born, they were teaching the Word of God. But now, today, I think someone was having a conversation with a young man. He doesn't go to any church. if he doesn't believe in God, and his ma and pa don't go to no church. You see the decay? Where you're not brought up according to biblically sound standards and principles, then the enemy just slipped right in. He said, I got to fill that void. So he brings homosexuality, he brings lesbianism, but he done got you on fornication and adultery. He got you locked into that one. And that has caused us all kinds of problems. But we did nothing about it. We tolerated. We think it's cute for children to be involved in sexual activity. Not realizing the dangers of sexual perversion. And there are people who encourage it, who want young people to be involved in promiscuous behavior. Then you end up losing them. And you say, what's wrong with this boy? What's wrong with this girl? Well, you're supposed to know they're boy and girl, but somebody else got them with something else. And that's confusing. So Bahamians, we have to be very serious about our children. And I'm very disappointed that some of you are parents out there who have these children, but you're not taking care of the children at all. Yes, I know there's some pressures, because I'm feeling the pressure too, you know. I don't think I'm free of pressure, because that ain't so. I could tell you that right off the top. I am going through some pressures. I don't necessarily talk about them, but I'm feeling some of these very same things that you're going through. But there's a way to fight it. It's not easy. It's rough. It's tough. But I'm going to stand and keep fighting, because the country's survival is at stake. This upcoming election is going to be very serious. Either we stand or fall as a nation. That's how serious it is. Either we want God in our knowledge, or we don't want God in our knowledge. We could go along with the world and take all the crap that the world is putting out there, bring it into our country. Now, the parliamentary commissioner said when he was on this show, they're not having any interpreters in this election. So you see any funny people on the line talking crap, you know they ain't supposed to be there. If you can't speak English, you can't get involved. No interpreters. That's what the man told me, because we asked him point blank. So you will see some funny things happening. Bahamians and the parliamentary commissioner said to report these things so they could get on top of it. And a lot of you have information, but you talk in your little circles when you have your little groupings come together. That can't help you, because it dies right there. It has no impact. You got to get it on air, like I do. Okay? That's why we have the show. We open the line, we let you call in and express yourself. And it's not that we're trying to damage anybody's character, but you can speak to the issue, as I do, because some funny things are happening which are detrimental to the survival of the country. We are in very serious trouble. Bahamians, you have to realize that. This is no joke. This is no time to be playing games. We need God's intervention in our lives for the protection of this country, so we can have a better country as we move forward after this next general election. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. The lines are open 326-0272-813-0271. We'll be back after the break.
Express Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Y'all know what time it is.
Catch the Jeff Fox Show on the afternoon drive. Weekdays from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. 99.5.
Are you a Bahamian college or university student with strong research in an economics, finance, or business-related topic? The Central Bank of the Bahamas invites you to enter the T. Baswell Donaldson Research Competition for a chance to win up to $20,000. Top finalists will also be selected to participate in the Summer Research Seminar organized by the Central Bank. Submission deadline is April 30th, 2026. For more details, email exr@centralbankbahamas.com.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island sale is here, starting at $125 per night, plus taxes and fees for single or double occupancy. Limited inventory is available and blackout dates apply. Advanced booking is required, and Comfort Suites is offering free food and beverage credit up to $50 based on length of stay and redeemable at Crusoe's Restaurant and Splash Pool Bar. VAT and gratuity is not included. All guests of Comfort Suites receives complimentary use of Atlantis, including Aquaventure Water Park, daily complimentary full American buffet breakfast, free Wi-Fi and free parking. Of course, kids 11 and under stay free in room with a parent and eats free at Crusoe's Restaurant with each paying adult. Go ahead, call 605-6300-363-3680 or WhatsApp 55-SUITE. That's 557-8483. Offer valid through February 28th. Comfort Suites Paradise Island, offering comforting days and sweet nights.
Myra Scents and Gifts, formerly Bed and Bath Concepts, is located at the Mall at Marathon. They've got gift baskets, gift sets, teddy bears, and women handbags. You will also find the best selection of perfumes, especially the now hard to find ones, like Love de Nude for men and women, Red Door, Periella's, White's Diamond, and an assortment of Arabian perfumes, just to name a few. It's Myra Scents and Gifts. Friendly atmosphere, affordable prices, satisfied customers. Come on in. We're open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays and 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays. Telephone 393-5958. Myra Scents and Gifts.
Nassau Motor Company knows that finding the right part for your car is important. That's why you can count on us to give you a quality AC Delco part, like maintenance-free batteries for quicker starts and pressure-tested water pumps for years of smooth operation. AC Delco parts are made to strict GM specifications and fit most cars and trucks in the Bahamas. Nassau Motor Company, AC Delco, and you, a winning combination.
Hey, look at my old friend.
Hey, you ever checked out Balfour Consumer Meat Mart on Balfour Ave and Charles Vincent Street?
No, what's so special about it?
Man, everything is fresh. I got old meat you get at some of those other stores. They have 5 different meat packages for every budget, even a 7-day Adventist package.
No, man, you say Balfour Consumer Meat Mart.
Yeah, man. Plus, fresh produce, great prices, and even items you wouldn't find anywhere else.
Yeah, man, that sounded like my type of place. Sound like Balfour Consumer Meat Mart really doing their thing.
Listen, they are clean, organized, and not staffed. Super friendly. You could even WhatsApp your order to 544-1515 or call 326-4702. And they offer free shipping to the Family Islands.
Now that's what I'm talking about. I have to go check them out today.
Freshness, value, and service. All waiting for you at Balfour Consumer Meat Mart.
Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center has launched an online auction website. Now you can browse, cast your bid, and win amazing items like some of these winners.
I just won this blender for $55 on BahamasLiquidation.com. I want this suitcase set for $100 at BahamasLiquidation.com.
And now it's your turn. Simply grab your laptop or smart device and log on to BahamasLiquidation.com. Once you reach the main webpage, click on the My Account option where you can go to register. After filling in the necessary information, hit register and you're good to go. Happy bidding! Please have your credit card on hand, as the winning bidder is responsible to pay for the winning items within 30 minutes of the auction closing. The winner must collect the items in store within 24 hours after the auction is closed. Please note that a 3.5% service charge will be added to your winning bid amount at checkout.
I won this HP laptop for $120 at BahamasLiquidation.com.
I won this magic bullet for only $35 at BahamasLiquidation.com.
Bahamas Liquidation Auction Center,
where you say hello to goodbye.
From Cable Beach to Montague, it's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and Global Radio 99.5 FM.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. And let me say to you, Bahamians, I need you to be more responsible for the development of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The average Bahamian, you who live in these communities, you've been living there for years. And you see the deteriorating conditions on the ground where you live. And you sit right there and do nothing about it. Well, what's wrong with us Bahamians? Are we that blind we can't see? I mean, blind Blake could see it and you can't see it? Well, we get like this. It saddens me where people are living in a constituency, in a community, and all kind of deteriorating conditions around them, the children out of order, the mother and father out of order, the brother and sister out of order. Come on, Bahamians. What kind of nonsense is this? Are they all Bahamian? No, I know all they mean no Bahamian. I could tell you that right off the top. Maybe we are so mixed up with strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders, we don't know our head from our foot. And then when something untoward happens, oh, they all did it. That's how those Bahamian people behave. We just don't seem to understand, Bahamians. If we do not care about our country, we are going to be in very serious trouble. We are now. Calling you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor. Good afternoon, Bahamas.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, if you have any guests. Professor, listen, the best way I really find how to take care of this country is stick with the Constitution.
I agree.
Man, every time I come up with, Professor, we done put some things to bed. We done put the, I call, Professor, I can say what I call for, but I must say this. We done put how, if you looking for the test of politician, just go to the page 39 of the Constitution.
39, yeah.
Article thing, and that say you what a politician ought to be. And Professor, you cannot be no criminal. Number one, you cannot be like that's mine. Our ancestors was wise in these politicians.
Yes,
they said, all we gotta do is follow it.
Yes.
You cannot be bankrupt. Man, Professor, we didn't put that to bed. But Professor, that's what I call Professor. Thanks for teaching us the Constitution. We go by the Constitution. We didn't put that to bed. Professor, what I call for. I think about this all day. But the schools that were teaching with sweetheart, that's a good thing. But I would love that.
Hold on. You say the school's teaching about sweetheart?
No. That's the College of Bahamas I hear.
Oh, yeah, they had one study. I have no problem with discussing it.
Yeah, we have no problem discussing it. But Professor, we even master that. We know everything about that. I want them.
It's a lifestyle. You see what kind of wicked lifestyle it is?
I know.
It is contrary to biblically sound doctrine.
And guess what? You can stop that.
When the sweetheart, the person you are committed to in a marriage, the sweetheart is more important than the person you're committed. What kind of crap is that? Go ahead, caller.
But I come up with scripture for that, but man, Professor, we do that tomorrow. We do that tomorrow. We do that some other time. But listen, Professor, I want them teach Black history. And I want them teach why you can't teach the Constitution. Professor, I come on the radio. I talk all I take my people, but I ain't bother calling nobody name. I talking Constitution, so nobody don't bother me. Professor, why we can't teach Constitution in schools?
That's a good question.
It's an awesome thing.
Yes,
and just what it rule out a lot of people. When I look at that page and I see, hey, Professor, you see the people broken the law and having police record. You cannot go to the parliament with a bad record.
Yes.
I won't say it on the radio. You cannot go to the parliament with a bad record. Just like you're going to be accountant and people know you were stealing. That's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
So you got to behave yourself in this Bahamas. Professor, let me finish this thing. I didn't say that. I want you to teach the Black history in there, and I want you to teach the Constitution. And Professor, I can throw something out there what I learned.
Now, explain clearly what you mean when you say Black history. What does that mean?
Professor, man, where they tell you all the Professor, you see everything I touch. You see the light. You see these red light bulbs make all when you come across there, everybody's safe and everybody there.
Yeah.
No chaos. You see that? A simple thing. A black man. But that's what.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. Well, I would agree with that. But see, we don't know that is not readily taught. So I can go along with that.
Plenty of them things, but
plenty inventions that were made by people of color.
Yes, and that's what I give, Professor.
Okay.
I can give you two, but I'm gonna give you one. I can make it quick, Professor. I can give one man who I study. He made everything. What do you name? George Washington Carver. That man.
Carver. C-A-R-V-E-R, Carver?
Yes,
George Washington
yes.
Carver.
Yeah.
I heard that name before.
I
heard that name before.
Man, he made, he in charge of the cars. He made a lot of things. He didn't even start a day, but that's what. He was under slavery, so he ain't get no money for that. But, Professor, but let's say there's another one. This one, a lot of Professor, I get on this one, but let's say that since they doing all them crazy study and a lot of things, Professor, a lot of people have smoking this marijuana. You know what this marijuana is really about? A lot of young people smoking it and stalking would come off King. When I was young, that's what they told me. They're going King Solomon grave. I believe it, but when I going, man, King Solomon buried in the tomb. Professor, the young people that smoking this weed, they know the Jamaicans, they come from Jamaicans. The Jamaicans was warriors. And they said, listen, how we can get the warrior out of these people's mind? And the British them did it allegedly fair use, education use only. The British them give that to them and they youth in them days. And when everybody grow up on the urban civilization. No, my brothers, the British put that you. And Professor, you see how they do things? When they do things, you grow up in this history, you think that's law. That is not no law. And my pastor tell me it. And he say, the British do that so they could not be our warriors. And they grown up saying, I can stop right there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate your contribution. Thank you very much. No, we need to look at people of color who invented a lot of things. I'm happy that he mentioned the person who invented the lights. And see, these are things that are not being taught. Black history. Yes, I would agree with that, because a lot of things that our own people did here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, we're not teaching it. But we need to look at Black history in the light of where people of color did some wonderful things, and were never given credit for what they did. And that is something we need to look at and do something about it, because we have the numerical strength to do something about it. We have allowed others to come in and steal what is rightfully ours. And even some things that grow here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, which people steal and take it out of the country and cart it off as if it's their own. Lack of knowledge. See, God says, my people are destroyed. Why? For lack of knowledge. We've got to give this knowledge and this information to our people so they could be better off, they could be smarter, they could be wiser, they could make more money. See, there's a lot of money out there to be made, but we have to teach our people. And I keep saying we're losing too many males. I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about that at all. And these so-called industrial accidents, you ain't gonna get me to believe that what you claim them to be, because I believe that not enough safety measures and preventative measures are put in place to prevent what are called industrial accidents, what are called accidents on the streets. Come on, Bahamians. There's a lot that we can do. Our behavioral patterns have changed drastically. We're not the kind of people we used to be. Like I tell you, got a bunch of foreigners in here. Strangers, foreigners, aliens, outsiders. And you never convince me they're afraid of Bahamians. If they're not behaving like me, who is a genuine, then you know they know Bahamian. That's causes of mixing up. why you have to be careful who is coming into your nation, who you're bringing in to your country. But we want to be like them other fellas, say all the nations around us, just like Israel. And God warned them, stay away from those people because they will turn your heart against me. That's exactly what happened. The worship of false gods and funny things where they worship. Gods of wood, gods of stone, gods of iron, gods of steel, gods of gold, gods of silver. People still doing that crap today. And so we keep going after false gods who can't help us. We get the same results that's been happening with past generations until you're wiped out. But we have an opportunity to prevent it. That's why we have the written word of God, the pure word of God, which we need to study every single day. How many of you wake up in the morning, you go, let me see who called me on the phone? You don't even pray. You don't read no Bible. The knowledge of God is not in your psyche. So whatever crap is on the phone, or whatever you want to leave you with something, and always some type of gossip, some rumor, some hearsay, with all this technology around, we should be better off as a people. But apparently we are not yet. We haven't reached that point yet. We seem to be in more state of flux and confusion. But there's a way out of it. And we have to discipline ourselves because we have allowed it to get too far. The longer we wait to do something about these issues, the harder it gets, behaviors. That carnal nature gets very hard and stiff-necked and stubborn. Then God have to kill somebody or some people. Because it's very difficult for them to change. Payments don't get to the point where God have to kill you and wipe you off the face of the earth because you don't change. You're not willing to change. The most difficult thing for a human being to do is admit error and change. Payments, I got to fight that every day of my life because that's how stubborn the human heart is. It is deceitful. It is wicked. And that's in every living human being. It has nothing to do with no skin pigmentation. That don't mean nothing. That's the makeup of carnal human beings. You see where they all go? Right in the grave. Well, no matter what pigmentation they are. It means nothing. All come from the dust, you go back to dust. These are the harsh realities we have to face. And we're not living as long as we ought to because we keep shortening our lives by our wicked behavior. And God is crying out to us to repent, turn away from your wicked ways so you can live. That's your hope for the future and for now as well. But you have to turn away from these wicked things. You can't expect to keep adultery and fornication and lesbianism and all these other funny things and expect things to go straight. So you have those fellas coming out of the closet now, they're dressing up. And you think that's a man, a woman, that's a man, dress up as a woman. Or male, let me take the word man out. Male, dress up as a female, because God made them male and female. So when you see people coming out like that, it's to start a state of confusion. You should have no doubt in your head that when you see another person, that's a male or a female. That's a boy, that's a girl. But when you're all mixed up, and the boy dressing up in female clothes and the girl dressing up as male clothes, then that's a problem. Big problem. And that's what's happening today. The lines are open 3260272 8130 You get them kind of people in the House of Assembly and in your legislature, you can find a lot of these laws have changed. We may have some of them there right now. There's a way to find out, you know. They aren't going to tell you, but you have to do some digging, Bahamians. Dig deep and ask some tough questions. Those who are there now and those who want to get there. Do not let up on them. Some of them, not all of them, some of them have some good intentions, yes, they mean well. That's why you have righteous on one side, wicked on the other side. And God tells you in his word, Proverbs 29:2. What happens when righteous people run your place, your country, your nation, your constituency? What happens? The people rejoice. When you put wicked people to run the place, what happens? The people mourn. All you do is look around the country, see what's happening in the country, see all these terrible things are happening, and you make your decision. Is this righteousness or is this wickedness? Only could be one or the other now. It can't be the two. And we've got to stop playing games with our lives, with the lives of our children, with the lives of our community, with the lives of the nation. We've been doing that for too long now. We got to stop that foolishness. Because if we don't, more will die. That's what's going to be the end result. Because we keep covering up a bunch of crap. And we end up losing our children, we end up losing our associates under mysterious circumstances. And all you hear is sip going around. And you never get to the bottom of it, you know. Some people have disappeared. I know of a particular incident. I won't get into no details on it, but I'll just mention it. And a lot of you out there in the public know about it. 6 people came out of a particular place, got on the street. When they got to a certain point, they just disappeared. Just like that. 6, all 6 of them, gone, vanished. What happened to them? Well, we were told the police supposed to investigate. And there's still some things the police are perhaps investigating, and some of these cases get cold because we have a limited number of police officers to do investigations. But they have an ever-increasing number of things to investigate. These are men and women who get tired, they get sleepy, they have their families to look after. They got to go home and the baby crying and teenage boys and girls say, Daddy, we need money and them kind of thing. They are confronted with the same kind of problems and issues everyone else in front of it, but they got to do investigations. And you have to be trained to do these investigations. The numbers are still small. But the pile keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And they aren't going to tell you that. But the evidence is loud and clear. Some things, unfortunately, get left out. And people wait for years and still nothing happens on their particular case. I'm not blaming the police for that. I just believe the police just has a whole lot of things to do, particularly on the investigating side. And people may get agitated because they haven't heard anything, and maybe the police could run into some roadblocks. They don't want to accuse nobody falsely, and I can understand all of that. But we just have too many people violating the law. And some of you have information that can be helpful to the authorities in this country, but you don't give that information to the authorities. You cover up for these personalities who are doing things that are harmful to the nation. But at some point down the road, it's going to spill out into wholesale wickedness. You're not going to like the result, payment. It has happened several times in the past. There are those who take matters into their own hand. They ain't checking for no Supreme Court and no Court of Appeal. They ain't checking for that. They set up their own Supreme Court. They set up their own Court of Appeal. They set up their own judge. They set up their own jury. And they pass sentence. Is that what you want, Bahamian? Is that the kind of justice you want? When we are supposed to be a nation of laws, a nation where you could go to the court and get justice? That's what they tell me. Well, at least that's what's written on paper. Let's put it that way. Now, whether you're getting it, that's another kettle of fish again. You can call in and tell me what you think about that. Because Bahamians, we just have too many things happening all at one time. Is overwhelming for the average Bahamian. And then the cost of living keeps rising, as I've said before in the show. And so people are stressed out. I get stressed out sometimes myself. I don't like being stressed out. Because the Constitution says no man, woman, or child shall ever have their lives frustrated. The utilities companies in this country frustrate your life. That's only part of the frustration. You got other agencies of the government of the Bahamas that make life very uncomfortable. They frustrate you, Bahamians. Now, I feel that because I am experiencing it and I'm going through it. And I don't like it. And when you try to get resolution, guess what they're doing? Everybody in friggin' meeting. Huh? I said, what the heck you all meeting for? Every time you go there to the meeting, you want to talk to the man in meeting. You leave message for the man never return no call. Except once. Except once. And since then, ain't nothing happened. And it's just going round and round and round. Every time you listen, they always in meeting. Meeting for what? And yet you don't see any results. You see deterioration in standards, Bahamians. That's what you see. Where's the improvement? Where's the quality of life of Bahamians improving when it comes to these utility companies? That's just one aspect of it now. Because there's some other areas where it is just frustrating Bahamians. Now, I feel that, and I know a lot of you out there feel it, but you could do something about it, You didn't know that, No man, woman, or child shall ever have their lives, it's unconstitutional, to have frustration in your life. No one's supposed to be going through any frustration. None. From July the 10th, 1973, 12 o'clock that morning, right on up to now. And every day you feel this frustration, man. I've been feeling it, and I know a lot of you are feeling it. But we could do something about it. That's the beauty about the Constitution. Because you're not supposed to live like that. Your life's supposed to be frustration-free. All the time. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All these broke-up roads we got around here. These deep craters they got. Your car fall in that, bing! Your car get broke up. That's frustration, Bahamian. Then you got damages to vehicle. And even it's more frustration. Constitution says no man shall have their life frustrated by what? By being deprived of good quality roads, by being deprived of good telephone service, by being deprived of proper lighting, Bahamians. And that's happening every friggin' day in this country. People being deprived of good quality services. But you just take it for granted. Oh, well, nothing to it. And it costs you something. And people don't have the money to go get these things fixed right away. So they're without vehicles, they're without transportation. Somebody run into you, try to get compensation through the court. It's a slow process. Then you're without transportation. You see what kind of country we live in now? And the money you're working with is small. So you got to try to stretch it. You got to make some more money, Bahamians. You got to make much, much more money than we are making right now. That doesn't mean you steal from anybody, try to rob anybody. I'm not into that. But we got to be creative and we have to make some more money. I got to do the same way. And do not forget now, I need your support for the radio show. I told you to send me that email, The State of the Nation. I didn't mention it in this show. I can mention it right now. The State of the Nation 242@gmail.com. Because Bahamians, we have a lot of work to do. Either we're going to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas or we're going to let it fall. This is a very critical time. We're right on the tip to fall over onto the deep cliff. Fall right off into that deep water what we can't swim in. Huh? They won't go into that. You don't want to get on the point of no return. You have so many nations out there that have gone over that cliff and they ain't coming back. There's no comeback for them. They stay in that until Christ returns. We don't want to be in that situation. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson. The lines are open 326-0272, 813-0271. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Wake up every weekday on 99.5 FM.
This is Steve Harvey, your main man.
With a Steve Harvey Morning Show.
Dude, what's wrong, man? Trying to learn a lesson in this valley, huh? Everybody got valleys. You really can't expect to stay on the peak all the time. See, if you stayed on the peak all the time, you would have no appreciation for the peak and you would not know what the peak looked like. Because in your mind, you would level it off. And then all of a sudden, something that's wonderful and glorious, you would treat it as mundane and normal.
Why wouldn't we just move? Why we got to be way up and way down? Way up and way down. Find something mid-range.
Sorry about that, Junior. Yeah.
Weekday morning from 6 to 10. Let's go. Over here on
99.5 FM.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island sale is here. Starting at $125 per night plus taxes and fees for single or double occupancy. Limited inventory is available and blackout dates apply. Advanced booking is required. And Comfort Suites is offering free food and beverage credit up to $50 based on length of stay and redeemable at Crusoe's Restaurant and Splash Pool Bar. That gratuity is not included. All guests of Comfort Suites receives complimentary use of Atlantis, including Aquaventure Water Park, daily complimentary full American buffet breakfast, free Wi-Fi and free parking. Of course, kids 11 and under stay free in room with a parent and eats free at Crusoe's Restaurant with each paying adult. Go ahead, call 605-6300-363-3680 or WhatsApp 55-SUITE. That's 557-8483. Offer valid through February 28th. Comfort Suites Paradise Island, offering comforting days and sweet nights.
Stay current, stay compliant with NIB. For a limited time only, registered employers and self-employed persons can receive up to 75% off accumulated interest on their contribution arrears through NIB's Interest Arrears Waiver Program, available now until March 31st, 2026. If your business is behind, visit your nearest NIB office or contact your inspector today. NIB, supporting businesses, securing the fund. Act now, comply today, grow tomorrow.
Do you have video games and consoles for sale? sale? What about lawn and garden tools, silver or gold? At Cash Whiz, they'll give you top dollar for them right now. Absolutely nobody puts money in your pockets quicker. So why be broke? If you need money right now, check out Cash Whiz downtown Bay Street and get cash on the spot. You can also save 70% on in-store purchases, tools, electronics, watches, and jewelry, all at unbelievable prices. Cash Whiz, telephone 322-2456. Get money in your pocket now.
Bahamian feel-good food in the right atmosphere. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whichever you choose. It's the Cricket Club Restaurant at Haynes Point, West Bay Street. The food is off the chain. Bahamian breakfast. We talking stew cow, stew fish, and sheeptown sauce. And for lunch, crab soup, okra soup, and pea soup and dumpling. Man! And for dinner, they got mahi seafood platter or steak and shrimp. Only $28.95 per person. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner at the Cricket Club Restaurant. Call 326-4720 for reservations. Oh, and don't forget, karaoke on Thursdays. And there's a live band, The Touch, every Friday night. See you there. Whether it's a special anniversary or your next big getaway, we are the best choice. We carry the quality you deserve when you're looking for handbags, shoes, belts, small leather goods, backpacks, or luggage. Experience quality you can feel with Land, Rioni, Kipling, Guess, Travelite, and more. Visit us at any of our 3 locations: Brass and Leather at the Mall at Marathon and downtown on Charlotte Street, and the Luggage Store on East Avenue in Centerville. Shop with us today. You will not regret it.
From East Street to Blue Hill Road, it's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. This is the last half hour. My producer to tell me 30 minutes. And I appreciate those people watching and listening. Acklands, Crooked Island, the Berry Islands, I understand. We would like for you to call into the show. In fact, all of our family islands. Even Andrews sometimes listen. We have Inagua and Meguana that also listen. And that's a good thing. So what we have to do is we have the WhatsApp line 813-0271. That's a free call. You don't have to pay anything for that. Even with these rates they got now, even when you make telephone call, the rates are extremely reasonable. But this is the age of technology, and we wanted to use it. We want to know what's happening on the ground. The WhatsApp line 813-0271. We'd like to hear from you. I appreciate you listening and viewing the show. That's very good. I appreciate that. But now let's get you to step up a little bit more, participate, make that call. Let's hear from you. Let's hear what's happening in Crooked Island. Let's happening what happened in Inagua, Great Inagua, Little Inagua. Let's hear what's happening in the Berry Islands. Let's see what's happening in Andrews, North Andrews, South Andrews, Central Andrews. That's happening in Exuma. Okay, and the Keys. You got a lot of Keys out there in Exuma, where people have been watching and listening to the show. That's fine. That's all well and good. But we need to know from you who live there what's happening in your neck of the woods. Because in a lot of cases, basically we hear from Grand Bahama. We can't forget Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama is very strong. They call regularly and consistently to the show. I haven't heard anyone from Grand Bahama today. Of course, open line is tomorrow. I think a lot of people will be calling in for open line tomorrow. That's fine. That's all well and good. That's another show. But we're dealing with today. Today is Thursday. Okay? So Bahamians, we want to encourage you to listen, to make your input. Because see, the thing is that your input is of extreme importance. Don't underestimate that call. What you have to say is important. Let Professor shut up, and what you have to say is important. Say, I'll be very quiet once you call in, and then I ain't got that much to say. But the point is that I have to keep the show rolling while the calls come in. The point is, that's what the host, that's a part of the responsibility of the host. He's got to keep the thing moving. You can't have just there. And you can't be simply feeling for words, okay? You've got to keep the show flowing. That's my responsibility. So we want you to call in people from all these different family islands. Let us know what's happening on the ground where you live. You can even send information on the WhatsApp line, 813-0271. But we'd like for you to call in as well and participate in the show. Let's hear from you because what you have to say is important. Now, here's another thing. You want to see improvement in your island. I want to see improvement in your island. But like I have said to the Bahamian people, you've got to work together for the improvement of your community. The point is there are certain national issues that can only be solved through the cooperation of people in all the different islands. In other words, the numbers have to be strong. You may have a few that call in. Yes, that's fine. That's all well and good. That's a step in the right direction. But you have to be persistent in it, man. For change to occur, you have to be persistent. Because some of us have been sitting for so long, you're so comfortable in that seat, you have done nothing with that information over the last 5 years, or even less than that. Some of you say you're listening for some time, and that's fine, that's all well and good. But you need to act on it. If you're not sure on this, I want you to call me and say, bro, I'm not sure how to act. Or send that email. Don't forget now, the email address, the state of the nation, 242@gmail.com. Put your phone number on it, or phone numbers on it. Sometimes I just like to look at the email, bing, I got one number me, I call it right away. Sit right at my desk and call it. The thing is that we need your participation, we need your cooperation and support for the show because there are some things we want to do. We don't want to just be Nassau-centric or New Providence-centric. We want to be national. And for that to happen, we need the cooperation of the family islands. That's why in the Constitution, they have this family of islands, rocks and keys. Okay? So we are a family of islands, and it's a beautiful way to describe the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Yes, we have our share of problems, but we can solve every single problem. That's what I want you to understand, Bahamians. We do not have to stay in the crap that we're in now. Because there are some people who believe that if they are not in the seat of authority, nothing can happen. That's not true. Some people have been given enormous opportunity to do good for this country. And what has happened? Things have been stagnant. People say, vote for this group, I vote for that group. Nothing has happened. You have to look beyond that, payments. You have to ask yourself, what is it they have done? What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you expect from a representative? And I hear some of the comments being made by people who call the radio shows. And sad to say, very little, if any, of those comments have anything to do with parliamentary representation. Nothing to do with parliamentary representation. Now, if a particular personality wishes to assess a person from a personal standpoint, fine. When it comes to the lifestyle of the constituents as a whole, that's a whole horse of a different color. It takes on a different effect. For example, the quality of life. Where is the improvement of the quality of life in Centerville? See, I live in Centerville. And conditions in Centerville, you look at those 4 sets of steps, they're just cracking up all over the place. I don't even use them anymore. I go around when I want to come out of Fortford Castle. You can fall down and get hurt, Bahamians. They're in very bad, deteriorating shape. Now, there are some positive things that are happening in Fortford Castle. There's some negative things. Well, Fortford Castle, yeah, that's where I live. But I'm talking about the constituency, so I got to get it right now. The constituency of Centerville, where Fortford Castle is a part of that constituency. What about the quality of life? Now, there's a gentleman, I have to tell my representative, there's a gentleman that lives on Dead Cat Alley. And this is an elderly gentleman. And I have to see if I can get my representative to go and see him, because he has some issues that need to be attended to. And so you have others in the constituency like that, where the representative, who is the representative for all of us, because I got some issues too, and I need my representative to look at those issues and see what he can do to assist the community of Fortford Castle, the people of Fortford Castle, and the people of Centerville. See, in the different parts of Centerville, you have different problems that affect people differently. And the representative has to look at that. This is where true representation comes into effect. The quality of life. Is it improving, yes or no? Why is it then that you have so many people that are in need? The needs are very great. I go through the constituency and you got a lot of sad stories that are being said to me daily, every single day. Now, I'm not saying that the representative is responsible for all of these particular situations. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm talking about is the overall quality of life. That people can be in a position to help themselves, to be able to make their own money. That is an issue that confronts the people of Centerville. They can make enough money, more than enough money. They can save some, so they can buy for themselves, they can buy for their children, they can take care of their family, they can take care of their homes. That's what representation is all about. The quality of life has to improve. I don't like what I see happening in there. And of course, some of the streets, well, we could work on that too. And then right on the street where I live, which is North Street, man, they just use that like they go into the airport. Some people drive at a high rate of speed in that area. Just outside my gate. Sometimes I think just see them whizzing along in the day, whizzing along, whoop. And we have children, we got elderly people who want to cross the road. And they could be seriously injured or even killed. There are a lot of children up in there. And so something has to be done with people who are driving at an extremely high rate of speed. And then when something happens, they call it an accident. I don't agree with that, you know. That ain't no accident. That is not an accident. That is something will happen because of the carelessness of the lives of these persons who are driving these vehicles, and they don't give a rat's foot about you. That ain't no accident. That's deliberate, intentional action to hurt people. That's what that is. So we as residents have to exercise caution and restraint. I take great caution and restraint in that area because I see some things that are not, they got a lot of noise, music, Well, that's what they call music. It's noise. 7 days a week. Raymond Darling Perkins used to complain about what's happening in Mason's Addition. He's on Spence Street. But the point is, I'm experiencing some of the things that he's experiencing as far as the noise level is concerned. It's just too high. And at some point, it's going to affect your hearing. And then you got a lot of people opening up businesses without licenses. They ain't got no license. None. And the area is congested with buses and trucks and vehicles and this and that and the next thing. And you only got 2 roads. And then, of course, you have this tremendous congestion of tourists that are walking in the streets. They need to walk to the side because there are those who want to drive through. And that's another issue that needs to be brought under control. People just don't know how to walk in the street. You're supposed to take up the whole road. No vehicles could pass through. We have too many vehicles in there now. And they're parking up all on people's property in front of people's gate. It is of no use to people like me who live there, where we enjoy this quietness and this peaceful community. Now it's becoming like a noise box. People just setting up shop. But they bring nothing positive to the community. Nothing. We're not accustomed to this kind of living. And I'm sure you have problems in your own constituency. Centerville is just one constituency out of plenty on New Providence. And when you look at Centerville, you're going to find the different pockets of people living in Centerville. They have different issues that affect them. Sunlight Village, Sunlight Cottage, Mason's Addition, all right? McCullough Corner. And other areas going further east in Centerville. These are human issues that affect people every single day. And constituents don't talk about it. They don't communicate about it. They just live as if this is supposed to be normal. But it can't be normal, Bahamians. That's not the way we're supposed to be living. That's why you have to fight it. You can't just sit back and do nothing. You have to be organized. And people don't seem to understand what that means, you know. Or they get lost. When you have to get the collective will of a people to get something done, that's where the challenge comes up. And you have people talking all kind of foolishness. Some people, you can't even reason with them, where their head is so blocked. They can't think. They just exist in a community, and that's it. They wake up in the morning, they be a nuisance to the community, they be a discredit to the community, then they go to sleep in the night. God may wake them up in the morning. Some of them you got to put to sleep because they're troublemakers. I remember there were some in my area. I mean, a complete nuisance. But they have been removed. Don't ask me where they went because I couldn't even care less. I just know they're not there anymore. There are times when God has to move in and get rid of the crap because the authorities take too long to deal with issues that affect people. So some other things happen. And here the police say, you see something, tell the police. You know something, tell the police. I have no problem with that. Now, when I hear them talk about this, it's an unresponsive thing now. I scared of that one. So you know what I just do? I just go out there and I talk to those young men out there. Because I don't want to call the police for them, and then when I hear an hour later, say, Professor, you know what happened to that young man? He's unresponsive. I say, what you mean unresponsive? I would not be too happy about that. That's why in a lot of things, I am very reluctant to call the police for them. Very, very reluctant. I'm even more reluctant now when they started using this type of unresponsive. I don't like it. When it was taking the man out of the Vauxhall police station, 4 police officers can't handle one man. And then the report came. He became unresponsive. So what did that mean? Dead. Now, I'm not going to feel too happy about that. I want these young men to live. I don't want to see them dead. Although some of them got some things that need to change. We all got things we need to change. But I can communicate with them. I can talk to them and say, fellas, now listen, see? Let's see if we could look at this in a different light. They listen now. They don't give me no trouble. I could say that much about them. They don't make no trouble. They don't round me out or anything like that. They will listen. But I have to get them to change. They got to take care of their children, man. Huh? Of course, some of them got girlfriend. They ain't married to the woman and them other funny things. So I ain't getting into all of that. I'll leave that part alone. But the point is, we have to take corrective measures to improve the quality of life. That has a lot to do with it. There's some things he can do. I spoke to him about it, and I'm hopeful that he can get some things moving very quickly in Fort Castle, area where I live, and of course, other parts of Centerville, where there's some rough spots. Excuse me. But it takes the collective will of a people. The behavioral patterns of people must change for the better. I can tell you that right off the top, because I know the people. I know the people of Centerville, not just those in Fort Castle. I know those people down Eastern Sedition, McCullough Corner, Sunlight Village, Sunlight Country, going all the way south. They're good people. They mean well. But we need people in the community to pull together to deal with some of these issues that affect us every single day. We don't have to be suffering like this. We can bring the suffering to an end. Let's work on that behavior. And you in other areas, do the same thing. And like I said to you, if you don't know how to organize, see, I can give this to everybody. If you don't know how to organize, you call Professor Sidney Thompson. I'd be delighted to come and help you. I want to see better communities. I want to see a better nation. We need to capitalize on that experience that many of you just sitting on it, that institutional knowledge. If you take the grave with you, you won't use it in your lifetime. Come on, Bahamians. You have to do better than that. Now, tomorrow is open line Friday. My producer told me I only had 30 minutes, so I got to stop. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson. I thank those who called into the show, those who are listening. And Family Island people, please call into the show. We want to hear from you. We want to know that you're there. You're watching by Facebook and YouTube and all of that. Fine. I got no problem with that. But we need you to go further. Don't forget, send me that email, the State of the Nation 242@gmail.com. Please put your phone numbers on it. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. Tomorrow's open line Friday. And I think my guest is going to talk about this thing about the College of the Bahamas. No, University of the Bahamas. Let me make sure I get it right. But this week, anyhow, you'll hear more about that tomorrow. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is 99.5.